so now I'm going to have a go at Hebe's head. Obviously I've taken the body really short, so I can afford to go fairly short on the head too, although I'm not going to clip her head off. That is an option if you want to do that with your Lagotto. Just clip the head off as well if it's very bad, because they can get really matted around there, under their ears, at the top of the head, particularly those that are between the ages of about 6 months and 18 months, 2 years, because they go through a period of coat transition from puppy to adult, and that is the time when they really are likely to get very felted. So the adult coat grows through the puppy coat, and it starts to felt at the base of the hair. So the best thing to do when you've got a younger dog is just to keep the coat fairly short. As adult coats tend to be easier to handle than the sort of the juvenile coat. But yeah, so if you can take the head off, and I do quite frequently take Lagotto heads off when people come in and they haven't been to me for a very long time. I just can't put the dog through, or don't want to put the dog through too much pain. I must just take the head off, the coat off the head. Anyway, so I'm not doing that with Hebe. So, I haven't done this ear. I will just clip this ear. Didn't do the preparation on this side. So, Hebe, just turn your head, sweetheart. That's it, so people can see. There we go. So I'm just going out, away from the ear canal, being very careful here. I'm just going to run it down there just to flick that out. Okay? And then I'm going to get hold of the base of the ear here. You've got this, you have to be very careful here. We're going to be trimming all around the ear leather. So you need to be aware of where the leather is. So finger and thumb, have that firmly, the leather firmly between finger and thumb, and then you trim around your fingers. So do not go anywhere near your dog's ears unless you know exactly where the leather is. So hers are fairly short because as I say, I clipped her about a month ago, so I would have done her ears then. So you just feel to where you drop off the edge of the ear leather and then stop. And then you trim around that with the scissors, all the way round. If I were to be doing a show clip, I don't tend to do the inside of the ear with straight scissors. I do it with blenders because I like the coat to blend into the side of the head. But certainly the back of the ear, which is what I'm doing now, I take it as close as I possibly can. You may have to go over it a couple of times. But I will do it with the blenders, so I'm just going to do several clips, but it's a nice, rather than having a straight line, you end up with a much softer edge, and that just helps it blend into the side of the coat on the side of the head. Okay, so that's that ear. So I now flick up the hair on the head, having combed it through. I'm now oops, where's my clipper? There it is. Okay, I've missed a bit here. Okay, so what you want, I've got hold of her nose, I've got all the coat that's from between her eyes, anything below that I've got hold of under my hand. Everything else you pull forward, flick up and pull forward. So the way I do it, and everybody has different theories, there are lots of different books and YouTube videos about how to do the head. Everybody has a different idea, but generally we're all aiming to have a nice round natural looking head. So the way I start is from the back of the head, and I'm kind of blending it into the length of the coat on the body. And I generally want less length of coat on the top of the head than I do, on the front here. I'm taking it reasonably short because it's short in the body. Keep flicking it up to see where you are, if you've missed any bits. Up and forward. But you go from the back of the head forward, like that. Good girl, Hughes. Creating a nice round shape from the top of the head. Okay. Now, come to the eye area, flick it forward. Now again, people do things different heads in different ways. I like to have a clear definition between the top of the skull and the muzzle. So I tend to trim that there, take it back over the head, the eye, put your thumb on all the coat below the eye, and then basically trim over the eye like that. And flick it with your comb, bring it forward. You can see there I've missed that bit. And then blend it all into the nice round shape. Bearing in mind this is a pet clip, but the shape is the same as it would be if I were to do a show groom, but obviously a lot shorter. So if this was to grow, it would hopefully grow into the shape that I want for the show ring. So the length on the top of the head. We've then got, you can see you've got too much coat here. So ideally you want the same amount of same length all the way around. You can see there's a lot of difference between the length on the neck. So we're blending. So I'm just going to trim that so that I've got the same length all the way around, and then just into the neck, you just take it a bit shorter just to blend it. Again, flick it, keep flicking the coat out. And that's it. Okay, so now you've got pretty much the same length all the way around. Now, the ears. The ears, you want length of hair on the ears, but it's got to blend into the coat on the head. So I tend to get the point of the ear like that, and then flick the hair up and back, and you can see how much longer the hair on the ear is than the head. So I keep hold of that and basically blend it into the length on the top of the head. Okay, so that you've got a nice sort of, it's all sort of blending in. Keep doing it till you feel comfortable that you've got it all similar length. What you can now on the tip here, I then tend to go for, get the clippers and just blend it. I'm not going right down to the leather, I'm just blending the edges so it's got a nice finish to it. If you were to leave too much length on the tip, as I was saying earlier, you end up getting a really thick wad of felting if you leave it both sides. I mean, I haven't clipped it to the leather, but there's enough, there's length, but it's not too short. So that hopefully now blends in nicely. Now I'm going to do the muzzle, and the shape that you have created by trimming around the leather will determine the length of coat under the chin. So you've got a nice sort of, well, you should have a nice straight line. And that gives me my shape there. So this can come off. Careful. Again, blending into the neck. Hopefully you can see, it's obvious to you watching this, what needs to come off. You can see that line under there. And then flick the hair on the muzzle out. If you leave it and just trim around the bottom, you're going to end up with a really thick coat on the muzzle. That's it, flick it out. Now I'm going to do this with my blenders just because I have them and they're the ideal tool for this job. But I'm basically taking the edge all the way around, taking the ends off all the way around, so that in the end you end up with pretty much the hair on the head the same length all over. I'm then going to put it forward, a bit knotty here. Take the ends off. Blend, blend, blend. What you don't want is the labradoodle look, which is basically where they take it all off around the eyes and underneath the eyes and along the nose. It doesn't look good. But as I say, I tend to like to have a bit of definition between the top of the head and the muzzle. So I'm just going to create a stop. This is the stop area here. And a sign of a good head is if you have a good stop. So we want to give the impression of a nice good stop there. So the length on the top of the nose, you can trim that, flick it up, but just take the ends off. People worry about Lagottos having too much hair in the corner of the eye, growing into the eye. I mean, I do take a little bit off here, but not much, because, to be honest, the length of the hair, if you keep length there, it grows down and past the eye. If you were to keep it short, it's likely to grow into the eye, but that doesn't. It goes naturally down away from the eye. You can see bits here that I've missed. Now, just some Lagotto tend to get a bit of a build-up of yucky area here. This can get very crusty, this corner here, so you can snip that out. Hebe's isn't too bad, but I will just trim that a bit. Again, be very careful. I've got hold of the lip. I'm doing it like this is actually because there's just chewing at it. There's a good cow. That's it. Takes a little while. You have to just keep going at it. You'll keep thinking, oh God, how have I missed that bit? But you do. Just take your time. Don't rush it. Relax. But there looks a bit chopped. Trouble is, it does look a bit chopped when you first done it. This is part of the advantage of the thinners because they blend it. If you're doing it with the straight scissors, it tends to. Look, I've missed a bit there. That needs to be blended into the neck.